So I think it's really important that we understand that we need to tell stories because it's going to help people pay attention. And people spend over 80% of the day daydreaming. And the only time they're not daydreaming, they're engaged in a story.
The storytelling part of the marketing, how important is that piece? We've all heard that, storytelling is important. That's how things travel, right? Like word of mouth, people are sharing things and parables. And even in the past, our ancestors, everything was kind of word of mouth. So it feels like it's, almost in our genes. That's how we kind of like to communicate. Do you think that still holds value right now in this kind of TikTok type of, you got 6 seconds to create this hook to get someone interested world?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I don't go on TikTok that much because it's extremely addictive and it sucks you in. But part of the reason why it sucks you in is because there's a bunch of little micro stories that happen really, really quickly. I remember one of the ones I watched was like about this girl that had one of her neighbors she thought was cute. So it's like this story of like her trying to not woo the neighbor, but like throws a note over, puts a sign on her window. Hey, call me at this number, come hang out. And she tells this story with each of these little TikToks. Right. It's extremely fascinating because the whole time you're wondering, oh my gosh, is she going to get the guy? Or you're also thinking, oh my gosh, what if her friends see this? Like, this is going to be crazy. This sounds like super creepy. She's putting this on the internet. That's a story. And the reason why that's so effective in keeping our attention is because there's a well-worn path in our brains that we automatically go to and we start listening and paying attention to in stories. We can be talking to somebody at a cocktail party and our eyes glaze over after 2 or 3 minutes because they're talking about how awesome they are or whatever they're doing. I was in a conversation with a guy and he was like, oh, I was featured on the Forbes magazine cover and something, whatever. I don't want to give him away, but I was like, you are so pretentious. I was like, this is so weird. But the reason why I tune out with him is because he's not telling a story. He's talking about himself. None of that connects to me in my life. It doesn't connect. But Marvel knows how to tell a story. And so for 2.5 hours, I will sit there glued to the TV or the movie screen, and I will pay attention to that movie for 2.5 hours. And I will not once worry about how's my index fund doing or whatever, some dumb thing that I get distracted by. So I think it's really important that we understand that we need to tell stories because it's going to help people pay attention. And people spend over 80% of the day or close to it daydreaming. And the only time they're not daydreaming, they're engaged in a story. So our goal is to tell a story that people visualize themselves in so that we can sell them a product or service.
Thanks for listening to The Adrian Sinclair Show. You can find previous episodes on the Apodcast multi-channel network at apodcast.com. You can also stream this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, and other audio platforms. And if you subscribe to our weekly newsletter, you'll get convenient short summaries of podcasts you may have missed. So check it out. And lastly, please, please, please support us by sharing our episodes on social media. We really appreciate it. Thanks.